All right, I'll call the meeting to order. Before we start, let's take a moment and ask for guidance in the decisions we'll be making tonight on behalf of Pittsylvania County. Thank you. Roll call.
Ken Talbot.
Here.
Alan Easley.
Here.
Ann Deering.
Here.
Helen Glass. Here. Jay Craddock.
Here.
Ronald Merrick.
Here.
Carol Yeaman.
Here.
All present.
Okay. In your packets, you have the agenda for tonight's meeting. Are there any additions or corrections? Not, do I hear a motion that be approved as written?
So moved.
Moved, seconded. All in favor, signify by raising your hand. Thank you. You've got the minutes of the meeting of February 11th. Are there any additions or corrections to those?
So they be approved as written. Second.
Okay. Moved and seconded. All in favor signify by raising your hand. Thank you. Old business?
I think at the last meeting you wanted to discuss the applicant not being present at the meetings and the decision-making process.
We addressed this several years ago and decided that the applicant didn't have to be here, and that we would act accordingly. Well, we've been hampered in the last couple of months by the applicant not being here to answer pertinent questions, which puts us kind of in a tough spot with not enough information, which we could always turn it down. If we make the case to the applicant, you need to come to present your case, or you stand that chance. Or we could require that the applicant be here before we even hold a public hearing on the application, which would place compliance with the zoning ordinance in jeopardy, because there's a very specific timetable, you know, in which we have to make a decision.
Mm-hmm.
So is the, do you think the difficulties that we face in hearing a case without the applicant, is that a burden that we can live with, as opposed to requiring the applicant to be here and jeopardize the process? Anybody have any strong feelings either way?
Would it be appropriate to ask the applicant to contact the zoning board if there was some reason such as sickness or something like that? I mean, you know, you can't control everything, but if, you know, if they had the flu or hospitalized or something like that, corona.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about that, but anyway, that they would have to contact the zoning office if they weren't gonna be present.
Well, of course, we can't change the ordinance. What we can do is admonish the, or ask the zoning administrator to admonish the applicant of what the, yeah, thank you. The bylaws, Board of Zoning Appeals, Pittsylvania County, the applicant or his bona fide agent must appear at the public hearing. If the applicant or his agent is not present, the board may continue the hearing to the next regular meeting. Now, what does that do to the timetable, though? Does that, you know, does it jeopardize anything, or? Because we're required to make a timely decision. That's based upon, they gotta apply, and the planning commission has to meet, and then we have to meet. Or does this cover it? It says we may, and then on each case, we can decide whether to, and this has been in here for 30 years, so.
Does the, you say the applicant or his or her agent, does an agent have to be specified?
Well, that's probably a loose use of the term, whether he's a bona fide agent or not.
And I guess, or let's say representative.
Yeah.
I mean, would we consider if someone comes down with the flu?
I think we would consider a representative. We just need the
someone shows up
information.
and says, I'm here to represent case S-123.
There may be a question as to whether or not they could commit the applicant to conditions or approve of.
True, that's a good point. And I guess if the applicant weren't here, and we approved the case with conditions, they'd have to either accept them or
Right.
reject them at a later period.
All right, well, shall we just leave it to, when they file the application, tell them they, if they're not here, they're giving up the opportunity to present their case and let it go at that?
I think after last month, we've really stressed that they have to be at the meetings. We stress that anyway, but we stress it even more.
Well, they're the ones applying for the permit system, to their advantage to be here.
You would
If we
think.
delay it for another
Well-
month, that holds them up from doing what
And
they,
especially if there's opposition, then the opposition goes, well, wait a minute, we were here.
yeah.
It's hard to say which side would be more likely to contest it, but, again, the process is kind of rigid. If we take it upon ourselves to break the timeframe, we're certainly subject to review and need to be able to defend why. So if we choose to delay one, there ought to be a pretty good reason that we could ask Karen to defend on our behalf.
Maybe Karen could say, you know, you or your representative needs to be here or something.
Okay. All right, so then no action required. It did, last month, we did emphasize the fact that we need to hear from the applicant. All right, new business?
No cases for April.
Back to beans and potatoes, huh? No steak next month. All right, there are no chairman's report. Oh, yes, there is. I got a very nice card from Mr. Hurt here in Chatham regarding the article that was in the paper. And it was written to me, but he commended all of you for stepping up, public service, doing what you do for the county. And so I want to pass that along because although it was written to me, you guys over the years deserve the credit. So that's the chairman's report. And he's my friend on Facebook. Okay, with that said, we'll proceed to the public hearing. You think I'm going blind?
Can he do
That's
that?
not, that's
Thank you.
nice.
That's actually for Mr. Motley.
That's nice.
It is nice. All right, ladies and gentlemen, pursuant to Article 5, Division 7 of the Pittsylvania County zoning ordinance, we, the Board of Zoning Appeals, have been empowered to hear and decide specific applications and appeals in support of said ordinance. In accomplishing this important task, we're charged with promoting the health, safety, and general welfare of the citizens of Pittsylvania County. We must ensure that all our decisions and recommendations be directed to these goals and that each be consistent with the environment, the comprehensive plan, and in the best interest of Pittsylvania County, its citizens, and its posterity. Anyone here to speak to the board other than the applicant regarding zoning cases will be limited to 3 minutes. So, with that said, the public hearing in case S-20-003 is now open. The time is 7:09. Report.
Case S-20003, Charles and Kim Harris have petitioned for a special use permit on 6.66 acres located on Telegraph Road in the Stanton River Election District for a campground. The definition of a campground in the zoning ordinance is 3 or more sites, but they're only requesting 1. The Planning Commission recommended by unanimous vote with no opposition that the petitioner's request be granted. The staff summary is enclosed in the board packet along with the concept plan, and the Harrises have contacted the health department about their requirements. So, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Harris is here to represent the petition.
Sir, would you like to come forward and say a few words in support of your application?
We did it for our mother-in-law. My mother-in-law, you know, she's up there in age, and she wanted her own little place. And she's not there all the time. We're
So,
kinda-
so it would be a temporary
Yeah,
occupancy,
she's
just-
in and out, you know.
Mhm.
She goes, stays with her son in Maryland, her daughter's in North Carolina. You know. So sometimes she's gone a month at a time.
But this wouldn't be categorized as a full-time residence,
No.
it's a camper.
It's camper. Yeah.
Okay.
She just wanted like her own little place.
Okay. Any questions for the applicant at this time? So you're gonna have well and septic and a power drop and,
Yep, power and water's ran to it.
Okay.
Just before we did the septic and all, we want to make sure it could stay there.
Yeah. All right.
Mr. Harris was actually cited for the code violation. and
Oh,
he
okay.
was applying.
But I didn't.
That's already there.
It's
the
a camper,
and the
it's a
deck and
camper
everything.
on,
Already.
Okay, so that was what I saw,
Private property.
what I saw from the road, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Questions? None? All right, we may have some before we're done.
Okay.
Anyone sign the book?
no, sir, Mr. Chairman.
All right, no one has signed up. Is there anyone in the public that'd like to address the board before we close the public hearing? If not, we'll close the hearing. The time is 7:11. All right, so, special use, we need to identify any adverse effects upon adjoining property. Are there any that we need to consider that might rise to the case, to the level of needing, either disqualifying the application or requiring mitigation?
I don't believe there are, and you can see on that aerial photograph, it's surrounded by trees, you can't even really see it from the adjoining property.
6.5 acres sitting right in the center of it, it looks like.
It's my understanding that this we'll be approving the 6 acres for the campground, but for only one camp. Right,
You can limit it,
yeah.
Well, the application was for one site,
Right. That's correct.
Right.
so,
But the campground requirement says it has to be less than 3,000 square feet, so.
well, he's got that certainly.
60
But
by
is that
40.
for the campground?
The lot or spaces of this district shall not be less than 3,000 square feet.
Right.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying, that the 6 acres is what we're talking
Mhm.
about, or 6.66 acres.
So what you're saying is we should put a limitation of one camper on that.
Well,
Is that necessary? I mean,
Oh,
because we
that's-
we got health department regulations and highway department and all other considerations. If someday somebody said, okay, this special use permit's been there for 10 years, I wanna make it a big campground. They got other regulatory, hurdles to jump through. So even if it was a 20 space, if they complied with the regulations, especially the location, there's not a whole lot of attractions out there on,
well, no, it might be
Telegram.
gold out there, like.
Well, there's no stream, it's kind of level. There was a guy that used to collect the trash bags, but I think he's not doing that anymore.
My only thought was, this probably will never happen. However, that being said, if somebody down the road says, well, this was approved for a campground, I think I'm gonna put a campground ahead. The neighbors have no voice in that if it's already approved as a campground.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
I do see what you're saying. They're applying for one campsite. But they're, as you say, they're
I
also
would say if
applying
they
for a
want to expand
campground.
that, they'd have to come before,
Exactly.
go through the process. And maybe, and if they got rid of that property, that special use, does it end with that property, or could it go with the property?
As long as the use continues, it would go with the property.
Right,
So somebody could
that's
buy
what
it.
I'm saying.
All right, so do you want to put a number on it?
Well, I
Number of
think we
spaces,
do
or-
one, and then if.
We'll do
we
what they're
got any more,
requesting.
then
Okay,
Right.
so the
come back.
condition would say, if in the future the applicant wishes to cite more campers, he must come back.
They would have to reapply.
Sir, is that okay with you?
Just wanted, if something happens to her, it's gone.
Okay. All right, so with that, then, positive motion? All right, so meeting as a committee of the whole, the Board of Zoning Appeals proposes the positive motion that would read, whereas Charles and Kim Harris have petitioned the Board of Zoning Appeals for a special use permit for a campground for one camper, and whereas we find no substantial detriment to adjacent property, that the character of the zoning district will not be changed thereby, and that such use will be in harmony with the purpose and intent of the ordinance, I move the special use permit be granted with the following condition. If the, I'll say applicant, wishes to expand the use beyond one site, one site, he must reapply. That's pretty specific. All right, so is that the motion?
I'll make it.
I'll second it.
So moved and seconded, any discussion?
No, sir.
If not, all in favor signify by raising your hand. Thank you very much, and good luck to your mother-in-law, was it?
Yes, sir.
I hope she likes Pittsylvania County.
Originally from West Virginia,
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, she's from West Virginia.
I go to West Virginia.
All right, do I hear a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.